Welcome to the Table Podcast series with Bridget Johnson. Each month, we give you game-changing conversations about K-12 education and leadership. Join us as top educators, field experts, and administrators share actionable strategies to transform your school community. Let's dive in.
Welcome to The Table, the podcast where student life professionals, educators, and changemakers come together to share stories, insights, and ideas for building communities where everyone belongs. I'm your host, Bridget Johnson. Today, I am so excited to welcome back my friend, Dr. Kiba Rogers, psychologist, educator, and CEO and founder of Kiba Speaks, LLC, and the Third Avenue Psychological Services, PLLC, as well as CEO and founder of Rooted, Resilient, and Rising, LLC. Dr. Kiba has spent over 2 decades helping children, families, and educators strengthen their mental, emotional, and social well-being, and she brings that same care and clarity to her work with schools through her Grace, Growth, and Greatness framework. So pull up a chair and let's get started. How are you, Dr. Kiba?
I am doing well. How are you, Bridget?
I am awesome. This is the final episode of our Grace, Growth, and Greatness series. And
Sad and excited.
I know. Can you believe it's gone by so quickly? This has been awesome. I so appreciate having you on and you giving us your time because I know how busy you are. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, over the last few weeks, we explore what it means to lead with honesty, grace, and curiosity. And today we're bringing it all together by looking at care, how schools can move beyond self-care slogans to create systems of care that truly support the people doing this hard and hopeful work. So I'm going to jump right in. We hear a lot about self-care, but you said self-care alone can't fix a broken system, which I 1000% agree. But what do you mean by that? Tell the folks what you mean by that.
Listen, I'm sorry to just start right off running to the races here, but you cannot out self-care a toxic environment. Like,
I know that's right.
you can do all of the candles and meditations and bubble baths you want. But if you continue to go into a toxic environment or engage in a toxic relationship with your peers, that's not going to really pan out to be something that's helpful for you. And I'm saying that because we often think, well, I don't have anything to do with that. I'm gonna go ahead and drink my tea. I'm the queen of teas.
Yeah, I know that's right.
And it's like, yeah, except at some point that toxicity that's in the environment that you're ignoring and you're saying doesn't affect you will undoubtedly affect you because you're a
Right.
part of the system, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I would say we can't just rely on self-care for the individual. We have to start thinking about self-care for the institution.
We do. And so I'm going to actually take a step back. And so, what does self care mean to you? Because I think, we throw around that term really loosely. You said it's not about the bubble baths or the tea. What is it really?
Self-care is really, to me, it's more about how I am doing. Self-care for me is how am I showing up in the world? Do I feel comfortable with myself?
Mm-hmm.
When I take time to look at the person in the mirror, do I recognize her?
Wow.
Am I someone that I am proud to be? Or am I hiding from myself? Now, let me tell you something. COVID and all of its disaster
Mm-hmm.
also did some really great things for helping people see themselves.
Yes.
Now, for some of us, we were like, nope, I don't like that. I'm just going to run away, right? I'm going to
Yeah.
go. But for others, we're like, you know what? I really need to align my behaviors with my values,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because this is what I believe and this is how I want to exist. But when I look at my life, I recognize I'm not actually doing that,
Not
right? So
aligned.
self-care is by increasing our self-awareness, being able to show up in the world authentically.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me be clear. Authentic does not mean that you don't have to assimilate. We all work in a system, right?
Right.
You have to assimilate to a certain level in order to get a job, right? I can't wear my favorite pair of gray oversized fleece sweatpants every day, right? I would,
Right.
but I have to show up in the environment in a way that seems somewhat palatable to the people around me, right? I might want to take a shower. I might want to have on clean clothes. It's things like that. We have to really figure out how do we show up more authentically.
Yes.
How do we really recognize who we are and stop hiding from ourselves by, ready for it, projecting onto others what
Mm,
really we are having problems with in
and
ourselves. That's the
ourselves.
word right there. I done started out early with a word,
You,
you know?
Dr. Kiva, the first question, really? No, I appreciate that. And so, thinking about self care for individuals, but also for organizations or institutions, whatever term you want to use, you have to balance personal responsibility for wellness and institutional responsibility to care for people. And how do you do that? Because you want people to come as our authentic selves, but not necessarily if their authentic self is not showering, wearing sweatpants every day. So, how do you kind of manage that for people? How do you provide an environment or create an environment where people do feel like they can be their authentic selves?
Yeah, the irony here is we lead with curiosity, right?
Mm,
We have to recognize that there are certain things that are not up for debate in
right,
environment, right? If work is from 8 to 5, then you need to show up at eight
right,
o'clock, right? So maybe your authentic self wants to sleep till 10. You want to be in this environment. If you want to continue to be in this environment, you got to get yourself here somewhere relatively close to 8. 7:50 is preferred. It's 7:50 to 8:10. You
right,
get a little grace period.
right.
Um, so I think that oftentimes when we're looking at structures and the culture of an organization, a lot of the times we don't have the open discussions around culture versus climate of an organization, right? So let me just take a moment to say uh culture is around like those embedded things. When you hear people say, oh, we
We
don't
don't
do
do
it
that
like that
here.
here, that's just not what we do, right? And they're kind of waiting for you to shift and change, right?
Right.
So someone told me once, for example, I was leading a meeting and they said, oh, after the meeting, they said, oh, what a great meeting. That was wonderful. And you're doing such a great job. Now, this wasn't after the meeting right there. It was,
Hmm.
they came to my office specifically to give me this particular feedback.
Okay.
And it was the person who was in leadership over me. And they said, this was great. And by the way, you've been doing such a great job and better than any of us could have imagined. And it was great. So I was like, oh, wow, thanks. Because I
Hmm.
really just wasn't expecting that level of feedback for a quick drop by. Right.
Right.
So I said, oh, wow, thank you so much. Right. And they followed up with, well, so the thing is, now
Here we go.
you already know. Well, the thing is, we're not really a ha-ha kind of community.
Are they more he?
I said, "What does that
Sorry.
mean? What does that mean? I don't even." So I was like, "Okay." I was like, "I'm lost." And they're like, "Well, when you were facilitating the discussion, it was a very serious discussion about whatever it was. I don't remember now." And they were like, "Yeah, and you were making jokes occasionally." And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Yeah, that's just not how we do things here." Right? And so I said, so here I had to get my face together internally, right?
Right.
Because I was struggling. I That was really a situation where I honestly was like, I'm sorry, what is happening here?" Um,
Right.
so I said, "Huh, that's unfortunate." It really is. It's unfortunate that you felt the desire to come and tell me this information, but it's more unfortunate that you're in an environment where you don't allow yourselves to find joy even in difficulty.
Mm,
And I was like, "I'm sorry, but humor is just what I do." Right?
yeah.
So I can't agree to not be funny. I can't agree to that. And so I don't know what that means for my job here, but I just want to be honest. That is how I show up in the world. And it landed extraordinarily well. People laughed. I acknowledged that we were all uncomfortable with the information I was presenting.
Sure.
Sometimes you just need to laugh about things.
A
And
little humor, levity.
they went back to the feedback on whether or not it was professional, right? And so I said, I just want to acknowledge your feedback. I noted, I appreciate you, and I did acknowledge that. And I'm not going to be able to follow it, but I
Right.
acknowledge it, and maybe we can have a further conversation at some other point where you
Sure.
tell me about what that means for my employment here. Now, fast forward when when I was moving on from that organization years later. Do you know what that same person who was in leadership over me told me? We are
Uh-oh.
gonna miss your laughter.
Laughter.
When I tell you that was listen, this is one of the biggest victories of my professional
I
life.
know that's right.
This is one of the victories of my professional life, but it was about that, like, that cultural shift that said, it's okay to laugh and still know what you're talking about.
Absolutely. You have to wonder because this is where my curiosity hat comes on. Who told them that was the way to be? Like you couldn't have humor when there's situations where it's difficult, or what happened in your world where you felt like there was never a time when things were a little bit difficult or serious to crack a joke.
Well, some of that is cultural differences, and I think that the challenge is there are many communities that align with principles of being that say you have to be stoic, you have to be,
Right.
that is the way that you show your professionalism. And
Mm,
so I for if we're thinking about shifts that people can make, how do we, allow folks to show up in the way that they can and they do, and appreciate the newness, but also we're holding them accountable to the things that need to be happening, right? So
right.
in that situation, hold me accountable for how am I presenting the information to the
Sure.
community? Am I knowledgeable about the things that I'm supposed to be knowledgeable about? Am I
Right.
increasing the learning? Am I offering support? Like those are please hold me accountable to the things that I'm actually supposed to be doing.
Right.
But how I get those done, I'm gonna need you to bag back.
Right? Back up, buddy, back up. I got this, right?
So
So
I think that if we really just kind of looked at who we are as a community, and we looked at the culture, the
mhm,
unspoken things that are happening, and then we look at the climate, and the climate is more about when I walk into this space, what do I feel?
right.
When somebody's visiting your organization, when they open the doors, that's the climate. The climate hits them in the face immediately.
Yep, immediately.
If people address me at the door, did they say good morning to me?
Yeah.
Right? Do people look and feel happy around here? Right?
Uh,
Do they feel like they're being productive? Do they notice that a visitor has entered the space? Right? So that's the climate, right? And I think that a lot of times we're focusing on, when we think about structures, we focus on the things that are going to improve the immediate climate,
mhm,
but we don't want to uncover the things that truly are about the structure of the place or the culture that is really making the climate hard to adjust, right? So the climate is going to adjust based on who's in it,
right.
right? But the culture is, you have the people who are the old guard that are standing holding that thing hostage. They're like, this is
Mm,
how we do things here.
yes. With that said, thinking about structural or cultural shifts that schools can make to support staff and leader well-being when you have a culture where well-being wasn't even considered. What do you do?
So this is really hard because honestly, the my true answer to this is alignment. Be about it. Don't just talk about it, right?
Right.
Really model
Modeling. Yeah.
the type of place that you want to be in is the type of place that and the type of thing that you can model.
Right.
Here's the challenge though, especially for those of us who maybe didn't come from a culture of being in environments where we are leaders. I know myself as with a doctorate and with all these leadership experiences now, when I was first starting out in leadership, there's so much that people will put on you and they will say, we can't do this. And we is either women or Black women or whoever it is. And
Uh-huh.
the reality is, I truly just don't know how to show up in the world any other way other than myself, being myself. And if we really felt like we could, or even if we don't feel like it, but if we just chose to truly live out our leadership,
Mhm.
not be so nervous about what are people going to think if we show up authentically,
Yeah.
then I think that we can truly shift towards supporting the staff and the leader well-being. Part of why we struggle is that we're not being authentic, and we're so
Right.
far from authenticity that I've had the experience often where people are upset with me, other leaders are upset with me, and they don't know me, but they're upset because I call it you're upset at my audacity to show up in the world as myself. And the
Right.
reality is, like, we are told over and over again, no, don't do that. I was told when I was what, 19 years old, 19, maybe 20. I was told, no, sorry, I had to be 21 because I was in grad school. So I had to be 21. Uh,
Mhm.
I was 21 years old and was told by someone who knew me from when I was 19 and who said, "You're not going to be successful if you show up in the world like that."
Wow.
Now, that was me, right? Now, this was a leader in the office that I worked in while I was in school, and I was beside myself. Not only was this statement made, but it was made in front of the 20 students that I was
Oh, wow.
working with. So it was really interesting, but as the years have gone on, and clearly, I mean, I'm very successful.
Yes.
It clearly
Yeah.
it did not matter, but it's painful because it is an archetype for me,
Mm,
right? I've seen that person in many other people,
right.
right? So I've seen that attitude over and over again that says, I need to minimize you so that you understand how we do things here. And this is a lot of what is happening in our school cultures is I want to minimize you so that you understand how we do things here. And the challenge is we don't realize how much that's impacting well-being, because if I have to keep trying to fit into this box, it's like you think it's so simple. Oh, just do this. But what you don't realize
Yeah.
is it's just do this today for this moment, and then in the
Mhm.
next moment it's just do this, and then it's just do that, and now you're like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm just trying hard to fit in.
Just trying to fit
So
in, yeah.
just break the mold and stop trying to fit in.
There you go. Stop trying to fit in. And oftentimes, what happens is that people finally get to a point where everyone's feeling burned out, and now they want to talk about shifting the culture. Where do people start? What's the one small thing? Because I believe in small, manageable steps, right? You're not changing the culture in a day. We're
Yep.
not kind of going in and like changing the school name, changing the school colors and the mascot. We're not doing all that stuff, right? But
That's
to
tough.
change, I mean, it's a heavy lift, right?
Knockdown, drag out fights over that.
I know, right? But there are some small things that you can do to move the needle,
Yeah.
so to speak. And so, what are some of those things that schools can do?
So I always say when I am either consulting with schools or in school environments, I just say, let's just open the door to communication.
Hmm.
Let's, again, as a psychologist, I've recognized that a lot of environments, a lot of leaders underestimate the value of just having open communication, of just being heard,
Right.
right? If we can just listen to what is concerning folks, that is often an underestimated step, and I feel like if we just did that, if you can't do anything else, let's just start having some meetings, open up the door to some questions, and where we actively listen. We're not
Mhm.
coming from a defensive standpoint. We're not gonna
Right.
tell you, "Well, this is why we do it this way, and this is why it has to be." We're just listening, and then once we listen, when we finish our listening tour, we're
Mhm.
going to then collate those responses and we're going to say, okay, so let's now start talking about what we can do to help with this. Here's some things we've brainstormed that we think might be helpful, but we'd like your input, right? And so that there's that. The second
Mhm.
thing is, I think, and I know you said one, but I think there's a second part here where we've got to really do better about just modeling wellness, right?
Yes.
If we are saying things like, I was here until midnight last night and I was back at 6 a.m.
That's not a
And
badge of honor.
right, when someone has a cold and it's at the beginning stages, and if they could just take the one day, they would feel better for the next 2 weeks. But instead, they keep coming in for 3 weeks until it turned into a sinus infection, and now they got to be on antibiotics, steroids, whatever else, right?
And out for 2 weeks.
Right, and that was 2 weeks, and so if we could just model wellness, and so sometimes people will say, "You need to go home, I want you
Mhm.
guys to go," but if they see you not doing that, leader,
Then they don't feel comfortable
then
doing
they
it.
don't feel comfortable because they feel like you're judging for them having wellness for themselves. And the third thing is, don't be afraid to offer support services, whatever that might look like in your environment. right? I often would be in environments, and obviously I was a psychologist or I was directing psychological services or whatever I was doing for the kids.
Mhm.
However,
However.
whether I wanted to be, I was the de facto counselor for all of the
Absolutely. Everybody on campus.
like,
Everybody.
because they had so many things to say. And it was really interesting being in environments where folks hadn't really spoken up about anything before. And then
Right.
I would be in leadership meetings reporting anonymously, hey,
Mhm.
so the community is really struggling. Some people in the community are really struggling with this. And I remember one guy told me he had been at the school that I was at. He had been there for, I think it was like 15 years or so. And he got
Okay.
so upset. We were in a leadership retreat, girl, a
Mhm.
leadership retreat. We were just talking through, and you know how the retreats go. I forgot, maybe 12 to 15 of us leaders.
Yep. Uh-huh.
We're reporting on our area, right? So I'm just reporting on my area, right? And I got my little report together. I was excited about the things that I had learned and
Right.
how we can move this. I had some great ideas about how to move things forward.
Yep.
Girl, we didn't get to none of that, okay? Because you mad at the fact that the community is talking to me.
Oh, stop.
But these are the things when we are so rigid in the structure. And so it was more from this place of, I've worked here for 15 years. How come I've never heard these things? And I said, you worked
Did you?
here as a leader of faculty or a leader of academic stuff, or I'm a psychologist.
Right.
People are pouring out there because they believe that they're hopeful that maybe by talking to me, I can help.
Right.
Right? Because they're like, "Hey, you sit at that meeting with all the other people. Bring some humanity into that."
How about that? Bring some humanity in. I love that. And so I think you probably answered this question, but there may be some things that you want to add because it, in terms of shifting the culture, also means building systems of care. And so this whole series has been about grace, growth, and greatness in that framework. And so when you're consulting with schools, how do you use that to help them build systems of care?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So first I'll start with just guiding principles, right? So
Uh-huh.
just guide kind of beliefs, right? Belonging precedes learning,
Yes.
right? And that's for the children and the adults.
Everybody involved.
That's everybody involved, right? So if you don't have a sense of belonging, you're not learning because you're focusing your energy on the fact that you don't belong
Yes.
and how to get it, how to belong. And oh, let me do this for this person and let me do that for that person. That doesn't leave you open for learning.
Right.
Care is not supplemental, it's systemic.
Mm.
We build care in. We don't just hope by the wayside it comes
It
about.
comes about, right. I love that.
Accountability should be relational, not punitive, right? So
Yeah.
I've supervised many people, and I don't need to yell and scream at you about what you need to do, but I do hold your feet to the fire of, hey, so you missed this deadline. Let's
Yep.
talk about what is needed, right? So
Mhm.
let's talk about systems of procedure, but then also let's talk about responses and accountability for what you may have missed. What are the consequences? Equity thrives where empathy leads,
Mm, I
right?
like that,
So
yeah.
if we want to think about equitable resources, equitable service, then we've got to care about the people that we're serving and what we're doing, right? And then every voice, including the babies, contributes to greatness.
Yes,
We can't be great if we're excluding anyone.
that is correct.
We just can't do it. So when I think about it's three phases. The first phase is, grace is really about, okay, so what is the foundation of belonging? How do we really, okay, so that's where we bring in our climate assessments. That's where we're talking about our staff retreats. That's where we're talking about empathy mapping. Those are the kinds of things like
Uh-huh.
first couple months, that's what we need to be doing, right? Let's just get on the same page about that.
Right,
But growth is about those actionable things.
right.
So, how do we build capacity?
Mhm.
What are we reflecting on our practices? What do we need to learn? How do we incorporate continuous improvement? Eh, Let me just, that's a word right there because some people think that, improvement is stagnant and that's okay, I did that. How do we have like training,
Continuous improvement.
coaching cycles, reflection
Yes.
groups, just ongoing, right? And then that's our growth. And then our greatness, again, is not about perfection, but it's about alignment, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we have system alignment, leadership development, evaluation? How do we say your greatness is about you and about you
Right.
being a little better today than you were
More
yesterday?
yesterday. Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not about these three people are in the same role, and if you're all not doing the same exact thing, then you're not great, right? What
Right.
greatness looks like for you might look different for what greatness looks like for your colleague who might be doing the same exact job.
Wonderful. And that's a great segue into our final question of this series. Getting a little emotional. Um, we're talking about expecting greatness and what that looks like, and how can schools hold high expectations and still care deeply for the humans doing the work?
Oh my goodness. Redefine success. Like align systems, right? Greatness is aligned with purpose, right? So if we really want to dust off those mission statements and you remember those huge leadership retreats where you guys
Yep.
talk for 3 hours about the period and whether or not it should be a comma or a
Comma
semicolon.
or semicolon.
Yeah.
Part. Yep.
Dust off that mission statement and realign your values and your purpose, your work with your purpose, right? So if we're thinking about expecting greatness, then we're expecting us to continue to work towards a specified goal. That is greatness,
Yes.
right? Greatness is not about doing 10% more than everybody else or
Right.
20% more than. It's really about, am I doing the job I was hired to do at the level that I'm capable of doing it at?
Yep.
If I'm doing anything else, we're sitting in misery here. I've got to do the job I was hired to do at the level I'm capable of doing it. And that is my greatness, right? So for
I
some
love that.
people, that would mean that they are doing their level best
Yes.
to
Their
do that
absolute
job.
best.
For other people, they might have more capacity. They might be able to do some other things and they're
Right.
showing up and they're doing a little bit more. And that's their greatness,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it truly is about, am I showing up to do the job I was hired for at the capacity that I'm capable of?
I love that. Such a powerful note to end on. Thank you so much, Dr. Kiba, for sharing your grace, growth, and greatness framework with us and for reminding us all that sustainability and compassion belong at the center of school leadership.
Absolutely.
And so, if they want to get in touch with you, if they want to learn more from you, I know you also have some special things happening in December. Tell us
Yes.
how they can reach you.
Yes, so you can reach me on LinkedIn. You can also reach me on Instagram at Dr. Kiba Speaks, Grace, Growth, and Greatness, or the newly formed Rooted, Resilient, and Rising. My co-founder and I, Ali Morgan, have a conference coming up, the
Awesome.
second annual Belonging, Affirmation, and Motivation Conference. We are super excited about it. It's a 3-day, it's 2 days of conference, 1 day pre-conference, December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Tickets are on Eventbrite. And we really are just excited about our lineup. We have I think it's about 18 facilitators.
Wow.
And we're just excited. These folks are movers and shakers and really committed to building systems that support belonging and affirm and motivate folks to do their very best work. So we hope that you decide to join us there.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. And to our listeners, if you missed any part of this series, be sure to go back and catch all 4 episodes wherever you get your podcasts. But in the meantime, thanks for pulling up a chair at the table today. I hope this conversation gave you something to think about or maybe something to even try out in your own community. If you're enjoying the table, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a friend, or leave us a comment. It really helps more people find us. And as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you next time at the table.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Table Podcast Series. Is your student life program delivering on your mission? Our new K-12 student life assessment moves you beyond anecdotes to evidence-based decisions. Through comprehensive stakeholder surveys and expert analysis, you'll get concrete insights across 8 essential dimensions of student life, from culture and wellness to staff effectiveness and resource allocation. We're seeking founding partner schools to be the first to experience this transformative assessment process and help shape the future of student life evaluation. Today's episode was hosted by Bridget Johnson in conversation with Dr. Kiva Rogers, the last of our 4-part series, Grace, Growth, and Greatness. All 4 episodes can be found on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. This episode was produced and edited by Andrick Sigmund and music by PremiumBeat.com. For any questions, contact information can be found in the episode description. And, as always, thanks again for listening.